Julian wants to know, have you heard about the crucifixion angle between Raven and Sandman? Wasn't that against Raven and Dreamer?
I believe it was Raven and Dreamer. Yeah, yeah. I don't know much about the crucifix. I mean, I read what you guys have read and what you guys have heard. But it was a couple of years I think before I went in. I believe they did it in '95. I heard it was real heavy. I heard it was very very just risky, and especially at the time for them to be doing. But you know that's pretty much it. I really didn't know the ins and outs of it. Anything else?
There we go. I'm getting stuff now. Give me a
Good,
second here.
good, 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 good.
What was your relationship with Hall in the '90s, and were you involved in the click drug fueled shenanigans?
um, my relationship with Scott in the '90s was as it is today. That's kind of how we um, had the relationship, how we have the relationship today. Scott in '93, before I was even Aldo, when I was PJ Walker doing jobs on the first couple episodes ever of Monday Night Raw, um, Scott always believed in helping the young talent, and he called me his young boy. In wrestling, it's a Japanese kind of thing. The rookies are called young boys to the veterans. We will get the veterans their coffee, or carry their bags, or drive them to the towns. And I was Scott's young boy. And to me, it was very endearing because Scott cared enough, about me as a person, and felt that I had enough physical attributes to take it in the ring as well, that he would take his time. And as I'm spending time with him on the road, for him to teach me, I learned by listening to Shawn Michaels and Scott Hall talk about their ladder matches in long car rides. They're legendary, those legendary matches. And I'd sit there in the back seat as they're talking about how they're going to do this or why they did that, psychology and stuff. I got that all passed down to me. So Scott's relationship and our relationship, I should say, was very much that's where it blossomed. And was I part of that drug fueled thing with the click? Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to say it with these somber tones all the time. I mean, it's sad the way some of it ended, but at the time, it was fucking great. I mean, we were hanging off chandeliers, girls, nights out. I mean, it was some wild times. It's the shit you see in movies. So sure, I was part of it, and some of it went a little too far, but it was great times, man. Some of the best times of my life were with those guys. Absolutely.
Piranha 168, he's the one asked before about where you trained after the
Yeah,
Hearts,
yeah, yeah.
and
Yeah.
we got cut off before that was
Okay.
answered. So
Where after the Hearts? After the Hearts, I went to wrestle for the promotion in Calgary that was associated sort of with the Hearts. Lance was wrestling there. Jericho was wrestling there. Jerry Morrow from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Beef Wellington as well from New Japan Pro Wrestling. Ken Johnson, who had done WWE squash matches when they came up to Western Canada. It was a small promotion. They ran every Friday in the same building across the street from the famous Calgary Saddledome. And I did my first 10 matches there. And I came to back home to the States in December for Christmas, and also because basically I hadn't gotten paid for one of those matches. So I went up there 220, gassed up to the gills, just jacked. Came home 40 pounds lighter. I was literally starving because I had no money. Wasn't making any money up there. So I was, talk about paying your dues. I was stealing $1.50 from the guy I was living with, an older guy that had the ring, to I say stealing it. I was taking it to get a gallon of milk, because sometimes that was all I'd have, was a full gallon of milk and not eat. And I was too proud to call home and ask my parents for money, because I was supposed to be this big time, making it in wrestling. You always want them to think you're doing, and in a way you were making it. You were in a different country wrestling in front of real people, against guys I'd heard of before, but paying your dues. So finally I came home in December, and then in January, a guy named Tony DeVito, who was doing squash matches in WWF, said, "Hey, PJ, they got this new show that's starting up. They're taping it every week. It's called Monday Night Raw, and Tony Gurria got me booked on it. And you want to come up?" And I went up to the first ever episode. didn't wrestle the first one, but I was on the second ever Monday Night Raw against the narcissist Lex Luger at the Manhattan Center. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep. And he said, I'll never forget. He pulled me up to the mirror. He said something about pale and, I was out of shape, and said I had a face like a beagle, and just made fun of my appearance. It was great. Good stuff, man.
What did you think of the Von Erichs and Freebirds feud in WCC?
Oh man, I'll tell you, there was nothing like that. I mean, talk about money. Yeah. I mean, that was hot. And those guys went at it, dude. I talked, Michael Hayes and I have been friends for a long time, and I talked to Michael about it a lot, and those guys used to light into each other too. They weren't pulling punches. I mean, people always say, what's that line? About being too stiff and whatnot, but they were playing for keeps as far as they knew what it took to draw crowds on a weekly basis. You're going back to these same towns. So, I mean, business was hot. They were beating the fuck out of each other, legit. I mean, the energy was just amazing. Those guys the Von Erichs could do no wrong anyways, to a fault, but the Freebirds were just on some different level shit back then. The music, the whole gimmick, the style, the way they were working, the realism in the way they were, it felt like a real fight when they got in there, and it was just they captured it at that moment. The crowd helps. People don't understand. That's why ECW was so legendary. Is crowds, and that Texas crowd had at those towns. The crowds helped capture the moment. A hot crowd could take a so-so moment and make it a great moment. So really, people, when they're at a wrestling event, they don't realize how important they are. And if they just choose to sit on their hands and knees or choose to enjoy the show, sometimes, when you go to a concert and or a show, you kind of look to see who's around you and if you're going to cheer or not, because you don't know if you're going to be the only asshole out there screaming your head off. But, if you go to shows, man, you're as important of a part of the show as anything. At least it was in ECW. The first couple of rows in ECW were as important as the wrestlers, I think. And they all, hell, everybody knows the Hat Guy and stuff. And the guy that had the Sabu headgear and the other, I mean, there's tons of guys. I was friends with half of them afterwards because I saw them every month. They were almost like family. And you'd see them behind this, as you're coming to the arena, and they'd be like, Justin, man, you rock. You're such a cool dude. And then the minute you got out there, they were part of the show. They'd be telling you to fuck you and playing the roll-up themselves. They loved it.
Did they get comped?
I think, oh yeah. Yeah, they were stars themselves, man. It's amazing. I mean, where else in wrestling do you see something like that? God, good stuff, man. Good stuff.
ECW had some great champions. Raven, you, Corino. Where do you think you fit on that list?
Oh, I don't know. I never, there's always debate about my championship reign and stuff like that. I look at it this way. I was a good champion. I was a very hardworking champion. I feel that I consistently, and Gabe Sapolsky went on record in saying this in a publication somewhere, that at the time I had the best string of house show matches of any ECW World Heavyweight Champion at that time. And that was a huge compliment, because I would go out there regardless if there was 200 or 2,000, or 5,000, whatever it was. And I took it very seriously that Paul gave me that responsibility of, trying to produce the best match of the night. And, I think I was a very hardworking champion. I don't know where I rank, but I was certainly proud of the string of match, both pay-per-view, television, and house shows. I was very, very pleased. I wouldn't change anything in that run. Anything.
We got, Pete, while we were gone, they were talking about baseball, so they kind of want to know, any team you root for out there?
I'm a Yankee fan. I've been a Yankee fan my whole life. Kind of, having a hard time with the Sox this year, boy. They're playing good baseball, but the Sox have their number, man. It's going to be interesting going into to see who takes the spot. I think, I don't think the Yankees will be happy with the wild card. Still one of the best records in baseball, and they come off with a wild card. It's kind of, shitty.
Whatever happened to Simon Diamond?
Last time I thought he was working down in TNA as a producer. Producer is what they call them now. I'm just learning this. They are producers. I always called them agents because that's what they were called back in the old 90s WWF days. But he is a producer. I don't know if he's still there. which always amazed me, because Simon Diamond was an indie guy who really didn't go anywhere. And he got himself into backstage and working that whole thing, which, God bless him, great guy, one of the nice Pat Kennedy's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, and
I'm gonna bounce on that for a second.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, recently,
sure,
WWE started doing something where they were taking their agents.
Yeah.
They did it with Arn for a day. They did it with Mike for a couple days.
Yeah.
And I think they even threw, not that she's an agent, but Vicky in it for a couple days.
Yeah.
Being managers again of
Yeah.
old school of talent. I mean, they
Yeah.
did it with TJ Wilson for a couple days, and I think they tried it with Harry for a day or two. What do you think about that direction, where you have the agent or the veteran
doing that?
doing the management of the
I think that's great. I think that's great, and it's a shame that they haven't done more of it, more consistent. Not do a special one night thing. I mean, a guy like Arn Anderson could really, like, when C.W. Anderson was around. If Arn would do that with C.W. Anderson, for example, the ZCW days, the impact, no pun intended, that it would have had on a guy like C.W., on his push, on his career. And you get to see Arn Anderson on TV, one of the best, most intense promos in the business. So it's a win-win for everybody. And I think there's so many guys, veteran guys, who are there anyways, that should have more consistent roles on television. I mean, you got some of the great talkers behind the scenes. Why not bring them, ahead of and let them do their thing with the younger talent, instead of, and you're still focusing on the younger talent. You're still focusing on their in-ring work, but you're just using those guys to do what they do anyways, do best, and that's entertainment. It's great.
Did you actually enjoy your Aldo Montoya gimmick?
Oh, I did. I liked it because typically Aldo was just a generic babyface. I came from the school of, like, Jumping Jimmy Powers and Paul Roma, that babyface, that rah-rah, Rockers, Rock and Roll Express, just the generic guy, that was the exciting babyface, and I was excited. I was young. I was happy to be there. I was doing all the high flying stuff. So yeah, I mean, I wish I would have looked a little different, but like I said, really, if the mask was better, I could have just been a luchador or that kind of style of a masked wrestler. So really, it wasn't. I enjoyed it. And I got to see the world over so many times, and to tour and to make money and to make friends and to learn about the business. See, I cut my teeth and earned. Those were 3 years where I had to earn respect. I mean, I got made fun of. I got the shit kicked out of me inside and out, tested to the limits mentally of what you could take, as far as the guys fucking with you, your morale, to see if they could put a chink in your armor. And it was hard for a 19, 20-year-old kid to pass those tests and to be on the road 30 days, straight. I remember doing a tour of Germany for 25, 26 days straight. You're on a plane every day, buses, not going to bed till 2, 3 in the morning, getting up, being at the lobby at 6 a.m. after 3 hours of sleep. Doing this for 25 days, okay, 26 days, something like that, and literally being so tired that, I was opening match. I forgot, I think I was working with Quang, Savio Vega, and he's out there, my music's playing, I'm using, a Queen song in Europe, because Queen was really big, I'm a big Queen fan. So, the music's rocking, the fans, 10,000 people, they're all getting with it, because it's rock and roll, it's not Vince's music, so it's a different environment. And I was so tired, and I could barely make it, drinking coffee after coffee. I had to take the mask off, stick my head in the ice water, where they had the drinks, just to try to get that energy, because it was at the point of exhaustion, physically and mentally as much as anything, really. People have no idea what guys go through, and it's no surprise that the situation happens where you do have to do what you have to do to physically survive, to get in and out of that ring so many days in a row. Some guys don't wrestle 25 matches in a year, some of the indie guys who think they're professionals, whereas you do that in 3 weeks up there, so just different stuff, whole different ball game, man.